we have from HYCU, Andy Fernandez, Director of Product Management. Andy, are you all set?
Hello, hello. Can you hear me?
I can, loud and clear. Or maybe you could speak a tiny bit higher.
Okay, perfect. Will do.
That's pretty good. Beautiful. So Andy, I'm going to let you take it away, and then I'm going to join you for some Q&A right after. How does that sound?
That sounds perfect. Thank you so much.
Beautiful. The floor is yours, Andy.
Alrighty. Thank you. Hi, everybody. My name is Andy Fernandez. I'm the Director of Product Management here at HYCU, and I'm just making sure that I can advance my slides here. Let me know if that's working. Seems like I cannot.
You know what? Here, let me do it for you, and you can just cue me if you need, if you aren't able to. Does that work?
Hello?
Hello?
Hi, I just got back into the system, and I think I have what I need to advance my slides. Perfect.
Okay,
Yes.
beautiful. We've
All
got
right.
you covered then. Go ahead.
A little scared there, but all right, perfect. Everybody, I know this is the last session for today, and I know you've got a lot of important things going on, so I really do appreciate your time and attention. We're only going to take a couple minutes here. I know that we've probably spent a lot of time on today's topic really talking about protecting virtual infrastructure, which is critical, right? Because that's not going anywhere. But we really want to take the direction of this last session somewhere different, because we want to take a look at, okay, we've seen ransomware, cyber attacks evolve throughout time. I want to give you an update based on our customer learnings, our research, and really start to look at your threat landscape, not just necessarily on your data center on-prem, but also your SaaS footprint, your cloud footprint. Everyone is at a different stage, but it's critical to understand the risk, especially within the context of data protection. But the point that we really want to make here is the industry for the last few decades, we've been very, very focused on prevention, and that's critical, right? The best prevention of an attack is to not have an attack at all. But based on the volume, based on severity, just based on the fact that cybercrime is an industry now, we know that these attacks are going to get through. And in fact, you've probably seen a lot of marketing stats, right? Where it was like, hey, every 3 seconds there's a ransomware attack, every 8 seconds there's a ransomware attack. And in reality, they're true, but I want to give you insight into something that's truly scary in the context of the types of attacks that we're seeing. So you've seen in the past how there used to be what we called ransomware as a service, right? This was, I can go buy a script, I can buy malware, I can buy all the contact information I need to kind of build my own type of attack. This streamlined the sophistication of attacks and really built an industry around it. But what we're seeing today is much scarier than that. We've seen organizations, cybercriminal organizations and users jailbreak generative AI applications and large language models. And they've been able to create evil versions. Literally, one of them is called Evil GPT. There's Worm GPT, Fraud GPT. They've jailbroken these and optimized them for cybercrime. So in the past, you would, as a criminal, you would have to write your own emails. You would have to build basically your own campaign, your own malware, all of this. Now, what if you could just, with a couple of prompts, really master the type of attack that you have, right? I'm going to give you an example here. This is actually from Evil GPT itself. Now, think of how many organizations are trying to exploit your data, encrypt your information to be able to get a ransom. Now they have a superpower to be able to not only deliver better phishing campaigns, clean up their code even more, have a better QA process, but have a faster delivery timetable on these types of attacks. So the reason we think this is so important is because it's going to do two things. One, it's going to improve the sophistication of attacks. In the past, we saw such a high volume of this attack being based on script kiddies and individual users, teenagers probably, trying a lot of these attacks all over the world. But they were not sophisticated. They were very simple attacks. Sometimes they worked, sometimes they didn't. The people that scared us were cybercriminal syndicates, whether state-backed or independent agencies, really focusing on ransomware as a service. Now, with generative AI, with LM, they are going to be able to not only improve the sophistication of these attacks, but also accelerate the speed of their so-called ransomware campaigns. But the whole point of this is we've talked about threats in the past, but this is the first time where we're now seeing a new type of approach, a new vector where we're seeing faster, more sophisticated campaigns coming out at a much quicker rate. What that really means is that you really have to take a look at your threat landscape today because this could impact your organization. Now, we've probably already talked for the last three sessions about virtual infrastructure, but it's critical to understand that these attackers are not just looking at where you're spending the majority of your budget, where some of these critical applications are on-prem, but they're looking at any type of exploit within your organization, anywhere in your organization that has critical applications. So I want to take a step back here and take a trip through time and go back to life when it was a little bit easier, where all of your critical applications were on-prem. Your virtual machines, you had physical, everything was in a castle. You were the king or the queen of that castle, and you were able to control who has access, who has visibility, and who's able to protect. It was very straightforward. But obviously, cloud and SaaS, they bring us a ton of scale, flexibility, even cost savings. But what does that actually mean? Well, all of these applications that used to be on-prem, hosted as server data center deployments, are now within cloud infrastructure. So for example, you may have already lifted and shifted, and you may have started actually modernizing, use cloud native services, not only maybe for Kubernetes, but also even critical infrastructure, whether it's AWS, Azure, Google Cloud. There's so many decoupled services that organizations are already leveraging today. They're outside of your data center. They're in somebody else's control, but you're still responsible for those services. But it's not just infrastructure. It's also all of these applications used to be on-prem. 10 years ago, 365, that was SharePoint Server. There was Office Server, all of these other areas, they were on-prem deployments. But today, every organization is using some form of collaboration tool that is SaaS-based, whether it's Slack, 365, Google Workspace, you name it. But it's not just collaboration, it's every other part of your organization as well. Engineering, sales and marketing, and even HR and legal. Every single application that you used to manage on-prem now exists as a SaaS. It is the primary model of consumption for applications today, and it's only going to become more and more of a standard. I guarantee you, and if everybody wants to kind of communicate on the chat, I'd be willing to bet that you have 10x more SaaS applications in your organization than you even think, especially beyond IT as well. But then you can say, well, Andy, yes, we're fully aware of this, but that's the point. That's why we moved to SaaS, because now it's somebody else's problem. Now I can call AWS or I can call Microsoft or Asana or GitHub and say, look, I deleted something. Now get it back for me. That's what I paid them for. Well, that's not exactly right. If you actually think through what SaaS really is, the best possible analogy I can come up with is the analogy of a garage. Think about it this way. You're going out on Friday nights and you want to park your car in a garage downtown. What is the relationship there? Well, you access the garage, you pay for the service. So what is the garage responsible for? Well, it's, hey, we'll keep the lights on, we'll be able to charge you, and we'll keep your car here. That's the responsibility. But what if you leave your window open? What if somebody scratches your car, steals the contents of your vehicle, or damages it in any way? Well, guess what? The garage is not responsible for it at all. That's on you. It's the exact same relationship with both your cloud applications and your SaaS applications like 365, Jira, or GitHub. Think about it this way. The garage is a SaaS vendor. They're responsible for the system. They have to keep the lights on. They have to make sure the entire garage is secure. They have a security guard. They keep the lights on. Processing payments is available. They are responsible for things at the system level. But you, the user, the organization that is consuming this, are a tenant of that service, which means you're still responsible for your car. You're responsible for keeping your account secure, your data classified, access controls, but you're also responsible for your own backups. So what this really means today is that your organization, obviously you have a great investment and have backup recovery DR for on-prem. But so many organizations, even within the Fortune 10, have ignored critical SaaS applications that they're not protecting. And guess what? They're the number one target for ransomware attacks because they are the easiest targets, because there's so much gray area where people don't understand that they have to protect it. So with that being said, what I really want to focus on now is actually showing you how at HYCU we've addressed this problem. We've understood the problem. I want to show you how we're able to solve it. And for everyone on this call, there's actually a free service, no strings attached, on how to be able to solve for this as well. So the point of what we do today, and something I do want to mention at HYCU, our history is actually from protecting critical applications on-prem. We're the de facto leader in Nutanix data protection. We have agentless protection for VMware, for Dell, for NetApp. But the point here, though, is that we understand that your organization has data everywhere, critical apps everywhere, some in your control, some not. But the point is, they're all a target. So we are the first and the only data protection platform that's actually even built to scale to protect the thousands of applications that exist out there. Regardless of where your data is, we give you the ability to protect it. But what I really want to do is just actually show you how it works from a demo perspective. So I will ask the moderators to make sure that they can confirm my demo. Are you able to see that?
Yep. Here we go. I see. Welcome to HYCU.
Perfect. Thank you so much. So what you're seeing here is HYCU, our cloud platform. This is a SaaS platform where you would go to protect your critical applications. All you're going to be able to do is sign in, but I want to start by problem number one, which is you may not be fully aware of all of the applications and all of the services, both SaaS and cloud, that you're using, even within IT, but especially outside of IT. What is the tech stack that engineering is using? What is sales and marketing using? So we developed this free service called rGraph, and it gives you the ability to do just that. So as long as your organization is using Okta or Entra ID, formerly known as Azure, Active Directory, we're able to give you a full discovery of your SaaS estate. Here's how it works. Once you add an API token for Okta or AD, we're going to expose all of the applications that exist in your organization. So we'll give you the organization here, and then these are your departments or categories. So you can kind of take a look and say, well, what's engineering up to? Well, what are we using in our sandbox environment? What are we using within DevOps? And you start to see that count of SaaS applications continue to grow and grow. Now, this may look overwhelming because it is, but every single one of your organizations, as long as you're not a federal organization, you have a SaaS footprint. You have a cloud service footprint, and I guarantee you it's much larger than you anticipate. But what we're able to really do here is give you insights into exactly how to protect it. So let's take a look at a specific department, at a specific application within that. Not only are we able to crawl through the directory, expose your entire tech stack, identify it by department, but we even tell you the applications that don't have any native recovery, any native backup, any native offsite storage automation. So within one view, you're able to perform an entire risk analysis from a backup perspective, from a data retention perspective, and even from data sovereignty. What this does, it gives you a plan for you to be able to triage and say, what types of data am I holding in these things? Where would hackers want to approach it? Let me start protecting that immediately. Now, the value and one of the beautiful things about HYCU is that we're built to scale. We have the most integrations that we're able to natively protect. And I'm going to actually show you this within our marketplace. We have over 60 integrations of cloud services, but also SaaS applications like Atlassian, Okta, GitHub, you name it. But I'm going to actually show you how we can protect and recover within a few minutes one specific type of application. Now let's take your SSO. This is one of the most critical applications out there. These are the keys to your kingdom. But what if somebody performs a privilege escalation or changes your configurations within Okta? What do you do? Well, with HYCU, you're able to simply add any of these applications within our marketplace as a source. You add the API token, and you can immediately start protecting these applications. So what you're able to do is immediately assign a backup policy. Now, we have default backup policies that you can choose, or you can create your own. You say, Andy, well, for Okta, it's a low amount of data, but it's critical to our organization. I want to do backups every hour. That's fine. You're able to store them wherever you'd like as well. But the most important piece here is actual granular recovery. So with HYCU, not only is it that you're automating the protection of it, but you're also able to restore it down to the needle in the haystack. Specific configurations, specific policies within all of your applications that you're able to protect. Why is this important? Well, you don't know what types of applications are being targeted. With HYCU, you're able to protect all of them and then recover or restore them at any point in time. But something critical to understand here as well is where is all of your backup data, right? When you think SaaS backup vendors, you assume that somebody else is storing the backups for you, but that's dangerous. That means that your backup data, your most critical last piece of recovery in case of an attack, is in the hands of somebody else. But with HYCU, you're simply able to add any type of cloud storage as your backup target. What does that mean? It means HYCU doesn't actually store the backups for you. We're simply think of us as an encrypted highway from your SaaS application to your S3 bucket. This could be something like AWS, it could be something like Wasabi. But the point is, you control the storage, you control the networking, you can even make these copies immutable so that you can ensure your entire environment is completely protected, but most importantly, actually recoverable in the time of an incident. So I'm going to stop sharing here. I can go on for hours about the value here, but the point is, whether it's on-prem, whether it's cloud, whether it's SaaS, we're the leader in full coverage, and we can truly protect your entire data estate. I'm going to stop sharing here and move into the next portion. So just to recap a couple of things here from our capabilities, now that we've gone through the demo. You have data, you have applications, you have critical applications all over. You still have some on-prem. You have some maybe potential new cloud native applications, and you absolutely have SaaS applications out there. You need to make sure that they're all protected, that they're all recoverable, and that they all have the right logging, the right security, the right compliance. That's what we do. No one else is giving you the ability to protect this all from the same place. And we're the only ones that can scale to any application that you need. You can come to me and you can say, Andy, eventually in the future, we want to be able to protect something like Snowflake or QuickBooks or HubSpot. Because of our development platform, we can give you that protection extremely quickly. And because of that, ever since our cloud launch of last year, we have over 60 integrations within that as well. So regardless of what your needs are, we give you the ability to be able to protect that data. So with that being said, I know that we have a couple questions. What I have added here is a QR code, and you also have the link here. And in the QR code, you can register, and you will have access to be able to perform RGraph yourself. No strings attached. This is a free service for you to simply, out of curiosity, go understand what your tech stack is. Understand what's being done outside of IT and truly evaluate your risk profile. Also, if you have any technical questions, any curiosities, feedback, my email is here as well, and I'm willing to have a full one-on-one discussion with you. But I want to thank you for your time. I want to thank you for your attention, and let's move on to some of the questions.
All right, excellent. We've had quite a few come in here for you, so let's see what we can get through together. How does that sound?
Perfect.
Before I dive into the questions with you, I'm just going to put up one final poll. I know we've got that QR, so I encourage any of you who want to check that free SaaS discovery out, grab it now. And then I'm going to flip over to a poll in about 30 seconds, and then we'll go from there. How's that sound to you? Okay, so first question I've got here in the queue is about SaaS. So it says, can't I just ask my SaaS provider to recover my data?
That's a question I get every day. And what's interesting is I would challenge you to ask your SaaS provider what would happen. So, for example, you can say, well, look, if somebody deletes a critical GitHub repository or a Jira project, I can email Atlassian. Well, first of all, you're depending on a support ticket to get your data back, but you're not actually going to get that specific piece of data back. They are responsible for backups at the system level. They're not responsible for your own recovery of a mistake that your organization made. 99% of the time, they're not going to be able to recover your data. Even if they provide best effort support, your best bet is having data recovery in your control, not in the hands of a support ticket with no SLA guarantees.
Okay, that sounds good. On the theme of SaaS, another question here is, does HYCU only focus on SaaS and cloud?
No, absolutely not. Our background, our focus, our area that we first started is protecting critical applications on-prem. We have over 4,000 customers, large organizations doing so. But we realized that these same organizations also had cloud and SaaS needs, and we needed to give them one place to protect them all. Otherwise, people were facing 5, 6, 7 different backup tools to protect their entire estate. It's not efficient, it's not clean, and it's frankly dangerous.
Like that. What if you don't support the SaaS application we want to protect, is what's been asked here.
No, absolutely. And what we found actually is the average mid-size org, believe it or not, has over 200 SaaS apps.
Wow.
70% of those are outside of IT. So there's going to be something that we don't protect yet. And the way that we approach this, instead of a linear build, we actually have a development studio where the SaaS companies themselves build on top of the HYCU API and within our marketplace are able to receive or release protection for it. So instead of having to wait for a year from an entire engineer organization, you can restore that data immediately or actually just request that, and within a month too, you're able to get access to that.
Okay. I have a specific operational question here from Chris in the audience. It says, so if we already have someone backing up M365 or some other SaaS app for us, how would HYCU be able to see that we have those backups in place? Is it by utilizing the HYCU service to connect the backup solution to the SaaS app, or do we log that manually? Is that clear?
No, that's a great question, and really our focus is if you're already backing up something, then good, you're doing the right thing by protecting something like M365. What we do is we actually expose what are the native protection and recovery capabilities of that service. So, for example, Chris, if your organization is using like Asana or Monday.com or something within HR, we can tell you, does this have any recovery? Does it have any backup, any storage orchestrations? We won't tell you if, hey, are you backing up M365 with another vendor?
Okay. Nice. So let's see. Time wise, maybe one or two more questions here, and then I'm going to let you go. But I have a question here about scripts. So it says, what if I write a script for my
Yeah.
backups?
Yeah, that's a common question too, is because you can, it's pretty easy to sit here and write a script to export data S3, right? And I could say, hey, look, I've done my backups. But one, managing a script can be very difficult, especially as you scale. But most importantly, that's not recovery. Scripts get corrupted, but most importantly, they don't give you granular recovery. So if you've scripted a full bulk export of data, it will take a very, very long time to restore at the file or configuration level. That is not going to give you the SLA. It's not going to give you the protection that you need. And you always have to continually manually update these scripts as your organization grows.
Okay, beautiful. Okay, I have another question that came in hot, so I'm putting you in the hot seat here. This is from Paul. It says, to what extent is generative AI used in HYCU's data analysis or visualization process and automation? So a small, decentralized, or do-it-all IT staff can manage and run the process.
So actually,
Question.
that's an amazing question. So we're working through use cases of how do we integrate responsibly generative AI into this. But and I believe it was Chris who asked that. What we found is that we actually just made an announcement with Anthropic, and the primary problem that we tackled was the fact that there's not enough applications supported out there. So we built within our development platform, in collaboration with Anthropic, the ability to rapidly release backup and recovery services that are fully automated and granularly recovered. So if you do have a small organization that has to manage tons of backups, with HYCU, it's one all completely standardized, fully managed, but now you have more applications that you can protect than ever without having to assign FTE for it, simply because it's all fully managed. But that is just the beginning of all the AI use cases we're about to unravel.
I think we can, you're fast, so I'm going to squeeze in two tiny
Okay.
questions. Last one is, how is HYCU licensed?
Yeah, absolutely. So, and it's going to be licensed by the unit in which you've already licensed that service. So for the most part, if you have users of M365, you will be judged by users. Or if you're protecting a database by capacity, it's either going to be by user or capacity. It depends on the service that you're trying to protect.
Okay, excellent. And then my final question is just, if someone's super keen, they love what they heard from you today, they want to get started, they want to learn more, what's the next step? What should they do first?
So what I would say is schedule an RGraph consultation. You'll have free access to the service. But frankly, I'm a little bit selfish. I'm on the product management side. I want to understand your needs. I want to understand how we can help you. My email is within the slide deck as well. Please contact me. If not, click the link and schedule a consultation.
Okay, I like it. So say hi to Andy, everyone. Um, with that, I am going to let you go, Andy. Thank you so much for wrapping this up with aplomb. This was great, great chatting with you, and super cool to hear what HYCU is up to and what's going on with you guys.
Thank you so much. Thanks, everyone.